written in my notebook as well. So like I'll just explain how I proceeded with it. Okay. Yeah. So like first I found out, like made a KPI tray for my own self. Okay. As it was written that we are like sort of, this is sort of a descriptive analysis. Like we're not finding anything right now. We're just analyzing what actually is happening. Okay. Right. So I just made a major like a route which is a revenue obviously, and then I divided that into two parts, which is obviously number of passengers and the average ticket price. Okay, very good. And the number of passenger depends like who all are visiting your website or through any device or through any medium, and people who are converting that visit into sales or like buying any tickets and all thing. Yes, very good. Yes. Then I broke down visitors into few parts, which is like organic search, like people are coming, then paid ads through Make My Trip and like other domains, and app traffic, like those who are coming through specific Indigo's app. And also through customer relationship management, like people who are like reaching out to you if you want to book a flight or not. If you're like just by visiting website you get the data, then people do make a sales, try to make a sales. So okay. That. And then I've divided the conversion part into few things. First is obviously the flight availability. The flight should be available, then only you can convert the sales. And then like what is the competitiveness of the price in the market. Okay. And few more things like checkout completion rate and payment success. Like if you're providing the easy gateway or not for completing the payment. Okay. And like there's something average ticket price which depends on few things: the price, the base price obviously, and the meals add-on and the baggage extra charges. Okay. So this was a KPI tree that I made, and then I like directly jumped for making few KPIs, small KPIs. Okay. First KPI was the channel which is used. Okay. Yeah, I have. So I like while cleaning the data, I found that. Okay, sorry, I have applied few filters. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the major thing I found was like this channel. Yeah. So there are two major channels, internet and mobile, and there is no other channel. There were data which was not defined yet, which was set as no data. So I had to remove because in the data of 15,000 rows, there were only, I guess, somewhat around 200 to 300, I guess, data with no data, so null value sort of. So I removed. So Harsh, did you remove the complete rows itself or just ignore? Yeah. No, I completely removed it to make it like more easy for me, because the percentage was so low that I thought it would be better for me to remove it. Okay, sure. And then I proceeded with this booking origin. Okay. There were 84 rows which had no data, no set, like which was not set, which was the booking origin. So it was better for me to remove it. So I removed around 300 to 400 rows, almost 300 rows, to make it easy for me to analyze, because there were 50,000 rows. So the percentage was around you can say how much it would be. Okay, 1 to 2%. Yeah, 50,000, 50 if you're doing that would be 0.1%. Yeah, so I thought it would be great for me to remove this. Okay, yeah, then I removed it. Yeah, then I set few KPI matrices, like first is seat class. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it's in I think Q column. Yeah, the seat class, and I like I got confused here, so I kind of made a hypothesis, which was like not hypothesis. Like okay, how do I explain? Okay, so a metric where I fused two data set, which is like seat class along with the flight duration, like people who are like people are choosing economy or premium economy business depending on the flight duration. I thought it would be great because okay, if you are choosing a long flight, so people will go for business class if they can afford, and or premium economy. So this was sort of KPI and metrics both for me. Okay. And then I had flight duration in. Okay, so I'll just move it here. Okay, yeah. So this was my few findings. Okay, so I saw that people from internet are booking more flight tickets. This is a count of number of passengers. Okay, so like total count. Okay, sort of rows. This is not sum. This is the total booking. Like okay, a person is booking for two, so I have included a single thing for two passengers. Okay, all right. And then I have made a pivot for finding that who, like which day is more like majorly booked date. Usually people book on Mondays thinking that we might not travel on Mondays because that is mostly the like a working day. So there might be a way people are booking on Mondays to avoid price hikes. Right. Did you try to go a lot deeper into this hypothesis, Harsh, or this was the only thing where you like stopped? I stopped because of time constraint. I would have gone deeper if I've got time. It was only 30 minutes, so I tried finding most of it.
No. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is very well done, Harsh. I got a gist of the whole thing. Although I can't visualize or see your KPI tree, but I got a good idea in terms of how you broke down that. So well points over there. I think you tried to break it down perfectly where revenue is the starting point, divided into two aspects. Why two aspects? Because you would have learned like there are 6 predominant business models.
Yeah.
And if you think about Indigo Airlines, it is providing a service. To break down a service, you need two things. One is the number of people who are availing that services multiplied by the average cost of that service. Right. So that was your first breakdown, and eventually you broke it down well. See, I think this was very well done, although the whole Excel thing was not required. But I appreciate your effort over here. Since we haven't learned Excel, we'll be learning from the next week. So, but yeah, very well done, Harsh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Anyone else who wants to go ahead and showcase their work? How did you approach this thing? Also, by the way, the first question was on the data types. I'm really interested in knowing whether you were able to plot the names of each columns in terms of what data types they belong to. Anyone is more than welcome. Anuja, Lakshmi, Pawan. Okay. No one? Come on, guys. What do you guys do? 40 minutes. Lakshmi, Srishti, Rohan, Prince. Or any other questions is also fine. Although what I'm really looking at is the different perspective. Her showcased us a set perspective. Maybe you would have done it quite in a different manner. So would really love to see and also very interested in knowing that. So anyone of you wants to go ahead and showcase? No one wants to go ahead. All right. All right. Oh, no worries. Then I'll start ahead and we can discuss together. I'll just quickly share my screen. And yes. So the first question which was asked in this particular case study was in terms of the data and data types, right? Again, we'll not go and read the whole question itself. What we can simply do is look at all the columns over here. Okay, and you guys help me out. Okay, I am assuming that you would have read the document, also have attended yesterday's case. There predominantly are two types of data types. One is a qualitative sort of, one is quantitative. Quantitative means where you can see numbers. In that numbers, you can divide it again into two types. So I'll just write it for better visibility. One is qualitative, one is quantitative. This quantitative means number. It can be divided into discrete or it can be divided into continuous. Whereas we have qualitative, it can be divided into nominal or ordinal. Okay, very general basic data types filter that we have done. Can you all help me in telling what data type this A column belongs to? Flight number. Is it a qualitative, quantitative? Which type of quantitative? What do you guys think?
This is, I guess, a discrete data set. I will say quantitative.
Quantitative data set and a discrete one. Harsh, why do you think so? This is a discrete and a quantitative data set.
Because flight numbers are fixed. Okay, until unless we are making a range to find out the number of passengers who are using it. Till then, we can say this. We can use this as an ID number. I thought of using this as an ID number, but then I got to know that they are duplicates for each flight numbers. Then, but still, I thought this would be a bit discrete because because the details are different. Okay, so people who are booking the particular flight have a different thing. Like their trip type would be different, and the number of passengers they are booking for would be different. The day of flight would be different. So that would become a discrete data, I guess.
Okay, but here's a question for you, Harsh. Can you perform any statistical analysis on this data? Any sort of numerical analysis on that?
Yeah, I tried finding it. I categorized all the data, like this particular flight number, into the flight numbers. Like for 101, I found the number of total passengers, like the sum of passengers who are boarding this flight, and also the count of passengers who are boarding this flight. Okay, so
that's a different column, Harsh. This is a different column. We are not considering that. Just focus on this A column. And here's the question for you. If I do the average of these number, all right, I get the average as 112. Can I share this insight with you? Ki Harsh, I did the analysis and I found out that the average of flight number is 112. Does it make sense?
No, it will not, because flight number is sort of a name.
Why it is not making sense? Because it is an ID, as you mentioned. So whenever you're mentioning something as the ID, it's not a quantitative data. It's a qualitative data.
Okay.
Right? Whenever you think about quantitative data, you will associate it with some sort of analysis that you can do. Probably average, probably median, right? Probably some sort of test, I-test, t-test, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Right? Since this is not possible in this type of data, so we will consider it as qualitative data. Although you can see it in form of numbers. See, flight numbers can be in form of numbers. So this is a qualitative data. Now the question comes whether this is a nominal data or ordinal data. If you want to simply understand these two perspectives, whenever you think about ordinal data, right, there should be a certain order. What type of order? Order could be that, think about this thing, right? The seat class, that the business class is at top, then there is premium economy, and then there is economy. That the grades in the school, S is top, then there is A, B, C. There is a certain order over here. There is a hierarchy over here. Whenever you see those type of hierarchy, whenever you see those type of order, you call it as ordinal. Do you think so, folks, that 106 flight is better than 105 flight? Is that the case over here?
No.
No, right? There's no such case. A single flight is better than other flight. So since there is no case as such, it will become a nominal sort of data. Okay?
Yeah.
All good, folks?
Yeah.
What about others?
Yeah. Can you explain it again, like why it is numeric, why it is qualitative and not quantitative? Because it's a number.
Sure, very good. Okay, I'll explain you. So Prem, think that your name is 123. Okay, my name is 456, and Harsh's name is 789. This is the name that was given to us. Okay, one day your teacher asks, do the analysis on this number and tell me what sort of insights that you can do. You see that this is a number. I can simply do average on this. I got the average as 456. I'll go to my teacher and say, ki bhai, my names, as in Prem's name, Harshit names, and Harsh names average is 456. Do you think this is the right insight? Prem, do you think?
Yeah, I got your point, but ultimately, if someone asks what is the data type, so type is numerical. Like if we even go to this column or
it is column, but it is a name given to that particular flight number. It is a name given. A name can be a number also, can be a letter also. Could be anything.
Yeah. Right? So with the context, if we see, like if we're giving it ID name, then we will say it is a qualitative.
Always. Yes. Right? This is a name given to that particular flight. That's why it is a qualitative data. Cool. Moving to the B column, which is the number of passengers that we have. What do you guys think? What sort of, what it is a quantitative and discrete. Why do you think so? This is a quantitative and discrete?
It cannot be divided, or it is a whole number.
Yeah, beautiful, right? There could be no 2.5 passengers. Half kid. No, it's not possible. So since you can't divide this 2, 3, and so on into more decimals, it becomes a discrete data. Also, you can perform certain analysis over here. What is the average number of passengers? What is the median number of passengers? What is the sum of passengers? And so on. Perfect. We'll also move to C and D together. What do you guys think? What sort of data type is this?
Qualitative.
Yes, qualitative data. And Prem, would you mind telling which type of qualitative data?
I guess nominal.
Nominal data, right? There is no such order as such that internet is better than mobile and so on. Good. Same for the trip type. Now comes the interesting 3 columns, and I really like them. Would appreciate your responses over here as well. But before I go ahead, I'll just like to explain what these column actually means. Okay, purchase lead is defined as number of days from the flight of departure you bought the ticket. My flight departure date is tomorrow. I bought the ticket today. So the purchase lead would be 1, and so on. Okay, this is counted in day format. Same is the case with the length of stay. If it is a round trip, right, then for how many days you are staying at that particular place is calculated through length of stay. Again, in the day format, 19 day, 20 day, and so on. Okay. Now, here's a question for you guys. What data type are these 2 columns?
Quantitative.
Quantitative data type, and the next division? Discrete. Okay. Why do you think so? This is discrete?
Because number of days we are taking, and we are not saying that 1.5, 1.5.
But Prem, we can divide the day, no? We can divide into 1 day, 12 hours, 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can do this, but I cannot see any number in there. So I said, but if we can do this, then it will be.
Then it becomes a continuous. But okay.
Yeah.
The thing is that it is again a bit of contextual driven thing. What I mean by that is that the minimum division that this data is allowing me is the day only. You can't break it, although you can technically break it down, but for this particular columns, for this particular use case, it can't be broken down. Since it can't be broken down and it is at the most atomic unit, this becomes a discrete data type. Okay? Similarly, if I go to these all columns are again your qualitative. I want to look at these three columns: want extra food, preferred seat, and in-flight meals. Sorry, want extra baggage, preferred seat, and in-flight meals. What sort of data types are these three?
I think that is binomial data.
It is binomial data type, right? It is again a binomial data type. Binomial data type means it is either a true or a false. Binomial data type falls under the qualitative data. You can write it over here. Okay. All right. How about this flight duration or this flight duration actual?
This is quantitative data. And I guess you can convert this into continuous data as well.
Yes, right. This again becomes sort of a continuous data because here you are looking at minutes also and then seconds also. Okay, so this becomes sort of a quantitative data for you. Now the final interesting column that we are left is the seat class. What do you guys think of this one?
Qualitative.
And ordinal.
Very good. Okay, beautiful, right?
And one more thing, like there is a column with Saturday, Sunday, that will also be ordinal.
Yeah, very good point actually. Yes. So the thing with Saturday, Sunday is that generally it is a ordinal sort of data type only. Why? Because it starts with Monday and ends on Sunday. Okay, which I was coming to actually. So the question that I was going to ask you guys is, why we are learning so much about data type? We learned it yesterday also. We are learning it now also. Why? What's the need of it? There are 4 fundamental reasons. Of course, there are multiple reasons as well. The first reason, very simply, is if you know the data type, then you know on what particular column you can perform the analysis or not. What I mean by that is, in the A column, if someone doesn't know that this is a categorical data, they would go ahead and perform any numerical analysis on it and come up with some random insights which are not at all relevant to the particular data or the analysis that we are doing. So you should be aware about the data type that you are playing with. That's the first part. The second part, that it comes very, very handy in the visualizations part. How it comes handy? Let me actually show you. Okay? There are 2 channels. Okay, guys. There are 2 columns that we have. The first column is the sales channel column. Okay, the first column is the sales channel column. Another column is, let's say, this flight duration, or let's say this booking amount. Okay, the first column is the sales channel. Another column is this booking amount. Can you all tell me for which column pie chart as a visualization will work well?
Sales channel.
Why?
Because sales channel, maybe we can get the number of internet, what is the percentage from the overall, and what share of mobile, and it is a continuous data, so it will not have.
Correct. So let's actually see it practically, right? Let's say you have internet over here and there are 80% people who are using internet. Then there is mobile and there are 20% people who are using that. If I go here, click on insert, go to chart and select a chart, it shows me like this. Readable? And it's very much readable. I can quickly see, okay, blue is occupying majority of the area and mobile is a red one is the smaller one. Okay, good. I'll just delete this for now. And let's say these were the price columns. Okay, these were the price column. If I select this, go to insert, click on chart, and over here, I again select the pie chart. Okay, this one which is occupying a lot of the work. But again, can you all see which one is this? Which one is this? Can you all identify which one is this? There is a small pie as well. Is it possible to read? Or does this become a bit complicated to understand?
Complicated.
Becomes complicated. Why? Because it is a continuous data. There would be some pricing which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rupees. There would be some pricing which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rupees. Now there are smaller increment that is going on. How much pie you will create? Right? There will be infinite pies that we will see, and it will not make sense. So for the categorical data or the qualitative data, generally you will use the pie charts to showcase, okay, this particular category is occupying this much percentage. This particular category is occupying this much percentage. Similarly, for these things, booking amount, continuous data.
For that particular moment.
Sorry?
But that will be for that particular moment. If it is a continuous data, that we cannot say it will be the same for the whole day. It will be keep on changing. So how those changes we are going to show? It will be on the...
All right. Okay. So there is a difference between these two. Okay. Continuous, what you are understanding is a little different thing. Continuous means that, for example, I have flight duration over here. Okay. The flight duration for you, you can tell, okay, this is a 6-hour long flight. What I can tell is, no, this is not 6-hour long flight. This is 6-hour, 20 minutes long flight. What Prem can tell that, no, this is not 6-hour, 20 minutes. This is 6-hour, 20 minutes and 40 seconds flight, and so on. So basically, you can divide that number into more smaller divisions. You're getting my point? That's the continuous that we're talking about. Whereas in discrete, you can't divide it. Can you divide a person into 2? Can you name it as 2.35 persons are traveling? No, right? So that's like the definition of discrete and continuous over there. Not that we are getting data every day. Of course, if you are getting data every day, then there are different scenarios in which you can do it. I hope I answered you, Nida.
Yeah.
Yes, Harsh.
Yeah. Like, can we categorize these flight duration, planned and actual, into like short and long and very short and very long flights categories?
Yes, definitely we can do that. Yes.
And then we can make a pie chart.
Yes. So you are defining a category for that again.
Yeah.
Then you can do it, definitely. Yeah. But just, for example, you directly go ahead and create the chart for this would not work. For that, it would be more of a histogram that would work. That from this to this segment, there are these many flights, this to this segment, there is these many flights, and so on. Cool. All right. Yeah. So these are few inputs why you are learning these data types. Also, one more thing which I forgot mentioning was that when you will go and start learning SQL in detail, there to do the same task. For example, I have this date, right? What's the shortcut for this? So let's take this one. Okay? This is the date, let's say. Okay? Date and time. Now, let's say I want to extract the month out of this date. I want to extract the month out of this date. In SQL, you can extract it using the extract function, toChar function. You can also extract using strf time. Okay, there are multiple ways in which you can do the same task. But why there are so many functions to do the same task? Because it depends on the data type. When you are using extract, right, the end date that you will, the end month that you will get would be in the form of integer. Whereas for the toChar, it would be in form of a string/text. So what exactly you want to extract out is something that you will have to take into consideration and accordingly use the data type. Maybe I want to do further analysis. I want to do which is the average month where it is coming and so on. Again, just a first thought. So over there, maybe I will go ahead and use integer. But for the text version, I want it in form of April because that's easy for people to understand rather than writing 4. So here I can use toChar. So again, over here, it depends on what you exactly want to do with that data. And similarly, you will choose the actual data types. Okay? So that's why we are focusing so much over here, because in future, as well as while learning Excel also, you will be working on it. Okay, perfect. This is done. Any questions till now, by the way? No? All good? Okay. By the way, you will be learning about few things during the first Excel class, which is on the data cleaning aspect. Okay. There are a few things that I want to explain now. Rest everything is something that Sahil will cover for sure in the next week. Starting off with what are few data cleaning steps. One of the steps is you can remove the duplicates. Okay. Removing duplicates ke baad, there will be missing data, how you are handling the missing data. There would be inconsistent data, how you are handling inconsistent data. There would be outliers, how you are handling the outliers. Okay. So all these things, how you can actually do on Excel is something that you will learn the next week. But I just want to give you certain examples of it using this data that we have. Okay. The first example is the inconsistent part. If you go here and put a filter, by the way, if you want to put filter in Excel, just do Command A or Control A, and there'll be a filter over here. Just look this. Okay. Come over here. If you look at this filter, right? Circle trip makes sense to me, makes sense to everyone, right? One-way trip again makes sense to everyone. Round one-way trip. What does this mean? Round trip, round one-way trip. What does this mean? It doesn't make sense. And hence, this is an inconsistent data. You will have to understand ki bhai, why exactly we got, first of all, this data in this particular manner. And let's say you don't have answer to this, then how should you fix it? What are the ways in which you can fix it and so on? This is something that you will learn next week for sure. But yeah, finding this inconsistency is one way. Okay. The another thing over here is the missing data part, right? This is very, very interesting. And I really like working with the inconsistent missing data and outliers part. And I'll tell you why also. Okay. What I can do is I can simply create a column above. To create a column above, go to first row, right click and insert one row above. Okay. There's a function in Excel as well as in Google Sheet, which is called as count blank. Count blank. What it does is it counts the number of blank in your data, which is where the data is not present, which means it is empty. Okay. So what I can do is I can select this. What I did over here is I selected this thing by my mouse and Command Shift bottom arrow. Command Shift bottom arrow, Control Shift bottom arrow. It will select all the data that is below it, all the data. And then you can close the bracket. It will give you how many rows are completely blank. 0. Then you can simply drag it to the right. Okay, there is nothing blank over here. There are 15 or 28 rows which are blank over here, 15 rows which are blank over here, and rest everything is fine. So let's try to go a little deeper and try to understand what are these rows which are blank. By the way, if you're not understanding, no worries. You will learn exactly this thing in detail, although we are at completely bottom, okay, and absolute scratch. So I hope you're understanding this. Okay.
Can you repeat the part where you converted the top row into filters at once? Shortcut for that.
One second. Top row into filters as in this part?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is, I'll just go here. Select everything, Control or Command A, and depends on the system that you're using. If you're Mac user, Command A. If you are Windows user, Control A. Okay. Go here. There'll be a filter option. Create a filter. Just click on it.
Okay.
Okay. It will do it for you. Next thing which we did was we did extra row above. How do I do extra row above? Frame is go to first row, right click, insert one row above. Okay. Then we are using a function, a formula called as count blank. Okay, how do I count blank? I count blank by clicking over here because this is the data that I'm using and select all the data that is below it. So I get this number and simply over here you see this circle, na? Just put over here and drag it to the right. You will get answers to everyone. Basically what it is doing here, it is copying this formula to all the other cells as well. See here. Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. Right. Now we are seeing a few rows which are empty over here, 28. Before I go ahead and explain you these things, you guys help me out, okay? Let's say this is my first session. This is my first session. Okay, and one second. Okay. We have Lakshmi. Okay, Lakshmi as the learner, and she's joining all my sessions. This is my first session. I also did third session, fourth session, and fifth session. Okay, Lakshmi joins all my sessions. All my sessions. She joined the first session and gave me 5 out of 5 rating. Second session also she gave me 5 out of 5 rating. Third also 5. Fourth also 5. But unfortunately, she was not able to join in the fifth session. You guys tell me, this is the missing data. Can I assume that since Lakshmi has given me 5 out of 5 ratings in all the 4 sessions, she would also give me 5 out of 5 ratings over here? Is it a right assumption?
Not like discretely right. You can either take the average.
You are taking average and then making it 5 over here.
If like suppose like in this situation only you are getting 5, but this might be 4.2, 4.5 or something else. So then we can take an average and find, okay, if you would have got like,
think about Harsh. Let's simplify it. This is the data. This is the actual data that we have. Then
then we can take an average and then we can find that this is going to be.
Okay, Harsh says that we can take the average. What about others? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think we can take the average as 5 if the
Okay, so we can take the average as 5.
Calculate based on the 4 ratings that we have.
Based on the 4, then you are telling that we can take 5. Now, here's the thing.
I wouldn't consider fifth one.
Oh, you wouldn't consider. Okay, and why do you think so, Rohan? You wouldn't consider this?
Because that data could be anything. It could be 1 or it could be 5. Instead, these are the facts that we have. We'll use that.
Exactly, right. See, I was actually teaching good over here, and that's why she was giving 5. But maybe I performed horribly in the fifth session. Why would she give me 5 over here? The thing is that this data is exclusively coming from the customer side. And whenever the data is exclusively coming from the customer side, you can't directly assume that, okay, last 4 times they gave me 5, this time also they will give me 5. No, that's not the right way to impute this data. Maybe if she would have attended, she would have given me 1 over here. So what should we do in these cases then? Well, in these cases, you would keep it as blank only. You wouldn't impute it. There should be strong confidence in you before imputing any data. And I'll show you an example, okay? Think about it. There is, again, 5 sessions. What we are measuring in these 5 sessions is a bit different, okay? We are also measuring that there is an interactiveness of the session. There is engagement of the session. There is overall content of the session. Sorry for the bad English. Okay, and then there is an overall rating. Again, let's consider Lakshmi as a learner. She attended my first session, gave me 5 out of 5 in the interactiveness part, 5 in the engagement, 5 in the content, and hence the overall rating also she gave me 5. This thing was repeating for all the 4 sessions that she attended. By the way, she attended the 5th session as well. She gave me 5 over here in interactiveness part, 5 in the engagement part, 5 in the content part, but unfortunately, she missed punching in the response for the overall rating. This is the missing data that I have. Now you guys tell me, on the basis of the above data, would you like to go ahead and impute 5 over here or not?
Yes,
Why?
because the left side all are 5. And so overall will be 5. It is dependent on other columns.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Anuja, haven't heard from you this class. Srishti also. Prince also. What do you guys think? I have a huge amount of data before. The only question remains is, what should I put over here? Okay, getting a bit trickier.
It would be best to leave it as it is. My best guess.
Okay. Lakshmi, I think you were mentioning something?
Yeah, the same thing. Like it is exclusively related to S5.
Yes. Okay, so if you think that over here, this overall rating 5 becomes a function of all these 3 things. Whenever she finds that the interactiveness, engagement, and content is good, she gives me overall 5 ratings. Over here, in the missing data part, I have the confidence of rest 3 functions. Since I see, okay, interactiveness is 5, engagement is 5, overall content is also 5, I have high confidence over here that she would give me 5 here as well. So it depends a lot on the analysis that you are doing and finding out the functions. Then only you can proceed and start doing the imputation. Solely on the single parameters, and especially when the data is coming from the customer side, don't directly go ahead and impute the data. It might be wrong, and your analysis would again become wrong. So while working on your Excel project, which probably would unlock by Monday, you would see this case and act accordingly over there. Okay? Cool. All right. Perfect. There is this outlier thing as well, which is again a very interesting topic. I would leave that to Sahil only. He will be explaining you in next week's classes. But you will learn about standard deviation, IQR, a bit of statistics, Z-score method, and so on. So quite an interesting topic. I hope you will learn and join the next week. Okay. Perfect. With that, we are done with the first part. And I hope this is clear. Happy to take any questions before moving to the second part of defining the metric tree. Any questions over here, guys? If it's all clear, shoot out a quick yes in the chat. Okay. All right. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that. So we'll start with the metric tree or the KPI tree, as you would have learned in your first week of this fellowship, where Arindam would have taken you through the YouTube's case. Also, Sahil would have covered a bit about metrics and just summarizing everything before going ahead and showcasing you how you can proceed with the metric tree part. Okay? It is just a small revision that we are doing. The first thing is about the metrics only, because we are creating a metric tree, a KPI tree. You should be aware about what exactly is a metric first. Okay? Metrics at its very core is the answer to your question. I am not doing well. What should I do? That's a question I'm asking to myself. To answer that, I would like to know some things. What is my body temperature? What is my heart rate? What is my cholesterol level? And so on. What is my fever? And so on. Okay. On the basis of that only, then I can suggest you things. So whenever you, and this happens both personally, professionally, in all the cases. How far is that place? You would measure it in terms of time, distance, and so on. Measuring it. There's a metric associated with it. So whenever you see any question, there would be definitely a metric associated to it. Most of the times. So metrics are answers to your question that you want to ask about that business. The question was, very simply, you have to identify the top level KPI and then break it down to this top level KPI. Okay? So we are taking revenue as the case. Okay? Revenue of the Indigo is something that we are trying to break it down. The question is that how should Indigo increase its revenue? That's the question. Okay? So you want to understand, first of all, whether how Indigo is doing its job in increasing its revenue. So what sort of question you would ask to Indigo management? Let's say you were the board members of the Indigo Airlines. What sort of questions you would ask to their executives, whether they are doing their job of increasing revenue or not? Come on, tell me. What sort of questions that are coming to your mind?
What extra features are they providing from the competitors?
Sure. Okay. So bit of competitor analysis is something that we are looking at. Beautiful. Okay.
Number of flights people are booking.
Beautiful. Exactly. How many people are booking my flights? Okay. And
Total booking value.
Total booking value. Yes. That actually
Number of
is
flights.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that. I'm really sorry. Can you please repeat?
A number of flights.
Number of flights. Interesting. More flights. Okay. Anything else that comes to your mind? Okay. On the similar lines, I also have asked these questions only. Ki bhai, how much are passengers paying for the flights? Who all are the passengers boarding the flights? Is there any drop off while booking the flights? Is anyone buying my additional services? What type of trips that they have? What type of preferences that they have? So these type of questions is something that I have asked. Now here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. How much are passengers, or let's say this, let's say this question. Okay? What type of trips and preferences does passenger have? Okay, and we, let's say, all our colleagues, and we are discussing about it. I would say that I have preferences of early morning flight. I really like early morning flights because I can reach the airport fast and then continue my work the next day from there. Okay. There is, let's say, Prem also. Prem says, bhai, I like flights which are at where I can get seats in the 4th or 5th row. And so on. Now, these are all the conversations that we are doing, but how do I measure that? Is there anything to measure it? How do I measure the early morning flight? How do I measure the 4th or 5th row seat? To do so is you make the metrics. That's why this metrics comes into the picture. Okay, I'll come to that part very, very soon in terms of how exactly or how you can write down the metric for this. But before I go ahead, a metric should always be measurable and it should be universal in nature. What I mean by that is that if I calculate that metric based out of Bangalore, and let's say you guys are in US, Europe, we both or we all should get the same answer. Okay? It should be proper mathematical equation that you are making. For example, Harshit, this Nextleap's user experience is average. But I would say, no, Nextleap's user experience is the best. How do I understand that your average is of what value and my best is of what value? There's no way. Why do you think so? Is this IMDb rating out there? Why do you think so? There is so many ratings on Blinkit apps and so on. Why it's in a number format? Okay, because it's a universal thing. Same is the case for the easy bookings. I was able to book the tickets on Make My Trip very easily. Whereas Lakshmi said, no, it was very hard for me. How do I understand that hard part or the easy part? Okay, it's very variable when you are talking subjectively. Metrics makes it easier. It helps you quantify it and then define it. And then also you can improve it. Okay, so that's the second principle that you should remember. And third principle is that metrics are most of the time the customer actions that you're observing. What I mean by that is, or actually I can show you by itself. Let's say we are over here and carefully watch with me. We'll go to Indigo Airlines. Okay. Let's say, and observe each of these steps that I'm taking. Okay? Observe very carefully. This is the first step that I took of searching from, let's say, internet, Google search, clicked on the Indigo app. That's the second step. over here I see a big search functionality. Let's say I'm in Delhi. I want to go to, let's say, Goa. I want to travel on 17th, return on 18th. And yep, that's pretty much it. This is where I'm providing the flight or the user information. Okay? Then if I press search, it will showcase me all the flight. This is basically the product page or the flight information page. Okay. So let's say I want to look at this. It is giving me 3 options: saver, fare, flexi, and upfront. Well, I just want to keep it simple. We'll click over here and go to next. Again, I'll click over here, go to next. We can quickly start filling in the details. There is some assistance and everything. I don't want to do any of these things. What is remaining here? Okay, number is remaining. And go to next. Okay, over here it is again asking me certain things, which is premium, meals, excess baggage, and so on. Okay, I'll select this part, go to next. Don't want to do any of these things. They are giving me extra leg room at 500. No, I don't want that. Go to next. And yeah, here I can then go ahead and pay. Okay, so if you would have observed it carefully, I performed these steps. There was a sales channel that was involved. One was, of course, the booking, the internet booking or the mobile booking. I was on internet. Then I was selecting my trip, Delhi, Goa, return flight. Flight preference was something which I was looking at. There was saver fare, flexi fare, and so on. I also got an option for the flights. Basically, I selected the flight, which one was relevant to me. They also was giving me additional services part. So I ignored all the additional services part. And finally, I moved to the booking completion part, which is the payment page, and finally the confirmation part. Okay, these are the steps that I took. Fair? Aligned? So are you guys ready to make the metric tree with me? Just remember those 3 things. One, it is whatever question that you want to ask, it is the answer for that. Second one was it should be mathematical. And third is this particular customer journey that I have. Okay, let's make the metric tree. My first number was the revenue. That was the top level KPI tree. Okay, revenue, since it is a service business model. Remember the first class, Arindam's first class. It is the service business model. If you want to divide the service business model, you can divide it into 2 parts, which is number of passengers completing the booking multiplied by average sales per passenger. 100 people, let's say, completing the booking. 100 is the average sales price. So total revenue is 10,000. Clear? Okay, clear? Now, the next step. Next step is very, very crucial. Why it is crucial? Because you will be moving backwards. This number of passengers completing the booking means that their tickets are confirmed. You will move backwards. What is the step before that? Which is the booking completion. So I will divide this metric into the conversion rate. That is how many people are over here and how many people are moving here. How can I do that? I can do that by this particular equation. That is total number of passengers who are trying to book on Indigo and percentage of successful booking. You just saw. By the way, if you go here, you just saw that I was not able to complete the booking. I was at the payment step and I didn't complete the booking. I dropped off. So the percentage would never be 100 over here. It would be slightly less. Okay? That's the second thing. Again, you again would go backwards. That is how many people are at this particular step and the conversion ratio for this thing, and so on, all the way till the back. Since again, this is a very example-driven class, so we are skipping some of the parts. So let's say I want to break down this percentage of successful booking. Ignore the weighted average for now. I'll tell you why we are ignoring weighted average. Percentage of successful booking. Percentage of successful booking can be broken down into percentage of successful booking on mobile channel plus on the internet channel. Okay. Similarly, total number of passengers booking on Indigo can be broken down into these steps. That is how many people are at additional services step, how many people are selecting the flight, then how many people are choosing the flight preference, and so on. So this becomes a whole funnel for you. This is how you create a KPI tree. If you also want to talk about this average sales per passengers, can you all tell me how this average sales per passenger is made up of? What it is a function of?
Flight booking?
No. As in total thing that you see on your ticket, right? The total price. It is a function of 2 or 3 parts. What is that 3 parts? Let's say the flight is of 5,000 rupees. There would be some X component, Y component, and Z component.
Cost of ticket into number of passengers.
That we already done. We are breaking down this metric, average sales per passengers.
Like charges GST and additional.
Yeah, है ना? Your base fare, your GST, and your additional services. Correct. So we can break down this average sales per passengers into average base fare and average additional services. GST we are ignoring for now, or taxes. How can you break down this average base fare? It depends on what? Base fare depends on what?
Distance.
Very good. And
the timing when you are booking the flight.
Beautiful. And
class, the first class.
Number of people.
Class, right? It is a function of three things. Of course, it could be a function of multiple things as well. But your distance, your timings, your seat class. I have keeping it very simple. It just breaking it down into average base fare per seat class multiplied by percentage of booking that is happening in each seat class. So if business seat class are having more percentage booking, then your base fare sale will be, of course, higher. Similarly, how can you break down this average additional services per sales? It is a function of
average services charges and like percentage of each services availed from each sale.
Perfect. Absolutely, right? The percentage of booking with some additional services and the average charges per service. Okay. Now comes the interesting part. Okay. If I want to ask you guys, you see so many metrics over here. Which of this metric is something where you have control over? Where you can go ahead and influence the human behavior? Which of these metrics would you pick?
In the additional services.
Okay. Additional services one. Nice. What else?
The percentage of booking on internet channel.
Okay.
Influence increasing it more.
Okay. Interesting. Any other ideas?
Total number of passengers booking.
Total number of passengers booking. Okay. We can of course break it down further. Fair enough. I'll do that. So I was interested actually into these two metrics. And I'll show you actually. Okay? If I go on Indigo and let's just go back a bit. While I was selecting the flights, you see what Indigo's guys are doing. By the way, they have revamped their website a lot. They are telling me that bhai, just for 630, you will get benefits of 4,500. What benefits? Complimentary meal and a standard seat. What they are trying to do? They're trying to improve my seat class and my additional services. Right? And that's what they are trying to do with this thing. If I move ahead, let's say I quickly just fill this. Yeah. Again, they're showing me certain offers that I can go ahead and choose a choice of the day, something standard seat just for 100 rather than 1,000 rupees. We have curated a perfect travel match for you. There is a thing that is popping up. Why exactly are they doing these things? They're doing these things because they are showcasing that, okay, we can change certain human behavior. Maybe this person really likes this veg food. I would directly show it rather than him going and figuring out himself. So in the end, they are focusing on these two metrics. And that's where the beauty of data analysis actually starts, or the business analysis actually starts. What you are first trying to do is you are trying to figure out those actionable outcomes, those actionable data where you want to do the analysis, where you will see, okay, I have control over. What you can do now is you can start listing down the hypothesis. When this XYZ person books premium economy, when this XYZ person books business class, when this XYZ person chooses to eat some food. That's the hypothesis that you are doing, and then you are analyzing it using the Excel SQL tools and coming up with the insights. Okay, so the actual point of making this KPI tree is exactly this. If I tell you, any of you in the class, that, hey guys, please go ahead and increase the revenue of Indigo Airlines, how would you do that? Where is the proof that you will be able to do that? Here's the proof. I can show you that if I increase my percentage of booking with additional services, it is a multiplier, my average additional service will increase. It is a sum, my average sales will increase. It is a multiplier, my revenue will increase. I can clearly showcase it to you. That's the beauty of these KPI trees. One thing that was seemingly impossible, how can I increase Indigo Airlines revenue, is now looking possible. All right, now once you are at this particular step, then then of course the questions that we asked in the starting, right, that whether my team was able to perform well for the Indigo Airlines or not, the executives as a board member, it will start to get answered in a very mathematical format. These are the questions, right? Who all are the passengers boarding the flights and how many? So I can write it as number of passengers completing the booking per seat class per seat channels, right? So just a second. How much are passengers paying for the flight? Average base fare sale plus average additional service sale, or this sale. Okay. Is there any drop off while booking the flight? The weighted average percentage of successful booking. Here's that metric. Is anyone buying the additional services? Percentage of booking with additional services. I can see it over here. Now the questions that were very subjective in nature becomes objective. You can define it and give it a number. So let's say this percentage becomes 10%. So you have the power to increase it. You know it, that it is 10% in this quarter. In next quarter, I have to make it 15%, and so on. Whereas if this would have been just a subjective question, you would have told, no, additional service is very low. I don't know what to do. How do you define low? It should be a number, right? Same is the case. What type of preferences does passengers have? So percentage of booking in each seat class, percentage of booking on mobile channels, and so on. This becomes a metric tree. First, you can definitely go ahead and see that how whatever analysis that you will be doing will eventually increase your revenue. And second, you can also answer the question that you were being asked. Okay. All right. There's just one final thing. I know this is too much to absorb in a single session. I'll be happy to take the questions at the end. Just one final thing which I'll be sharing, which is once you are done with that, once you know what to analyze, right? Once you know what to analyze, then you go ahead and start writing the hypothesis. What exactly is hypothesis? Hypothesis is something that, again, in the next KSR, you will actually see me do, and you all will also do. But at a very rough level, here's how you define the hypothesis. Business class is contributing to maximum revenue of Indigo. That is the first level hypothesis that I'm defining. Okay. What I'll do is I'll go on my Excel and quickly check whether this hypothesis is true or not. I applied a pivot tables and check it. Okay, yes, this is true. Suppose this is correct. Then you go a level deeper. Never leave at this step. What the Indigo will do with this particular insight that, okay, business class is contributing to maximum revenue. What they will do? Nothing. So you go a level deeper. You write that business class contributes to maximum revenue of Indigo during weekdays. Again, you go ahead and try to analyze on Excel SQL whether this is true or not. Suppose this is correct. Again, go a level deeper. Business class contributes to maximum revenue of Indigo during weekdays when purchase lead time is within 30 days. What I'm thinking over here is that business class people travel during weekdays and they generally prefer to book the tickets within 50 days because their, again, location and everything are revealed at the last moment. That's the hypothesis that I'm coming up with. You go to Excel, analyze it. Again, you go a level deeper. You try to write down that business class people contribute to maximum revenue during weekdays when purchase lead time is within 50 days when booked using mobile channels. They are on the go. Probably they don't have time for that laptop booking. So they are directly booking on their mobile phones. And at any point, it could be false. Don't think that it would always be true. Even if you're getting false, that's a good insight. That, okay, that this particular thing is not contributing to actual revenue. I would go a different path. But if you go to level deeper, right, that's where the real insight will come. The business class contribute to maximum revenue of Indigo during weekdays when purchase lead time is within 50 days and it's a round trip. So maybe they are going to their client's location and again coming back by Friday. Now, this is the insight that you would like to share with your Indigo executives, leadership. Then they will start pitching the solutions. Then they will start analyzing, okay, what can we do to increase this business class things for them, the benefits for them, how they would always prefer Indigo. You're getting my point, right? We will see that how to write these hypotheses in the next KSRs. But yeah, this is what the hypothesis basics mean for now. Cool. Well, that was pretty much it. Any questions over here? Do let me know at any point of time. Happy to take them. And yes, that was pretty much it. I'm sorry if it was a bit over for a smaller amount of time, but happy to take any questions. Please, thank you so much, Nirocha. She has left. Good. I hope this is clear. You got a quick gist of how the analysis would actually look like because you will be starting the Excel from the next week. So we wanted to cover this week so that the basics are actually clear and revision would have happened.
Can you go to the KPI tree part? I just want to take a screenshot.
You will get the this thing, the deck. By the way, please do leave your ratings on the poll that I have quickly launched. would help me actually improve my sessions for future. Thank you so much, Harsh. Yes.
Hey Harshit, I have a question regarding the Excel data.
Hmm.
So what do we do if the booking complete is 0, but the payment is done?
Booking complete is 0, but the payment is done.
Yeah, I think we have the data for that.
Oh, is it? Let's quickly check that. I don't think so. That should be data, because if that's the case, it is a missing data. Oh, it's inconsistent data. So let's see. Inside, let's build a pivot table. Whenever there is a booking complete, the booking amount. No, whenever there is booking complete, the booking amount is 0. Although whenever there is a booking, this thing is empty. There is nothing over here. Let's see that actually. Interesting. So whenever booking complete is blank, there is some data which is over here. Wow. Okay.
Also, there are a lot of columns missing when the booking amount is blank.
That I will quickly come to. Yeah, thank you for that. I'll just quickly come to that. But very interesting thing over here. Okay? And you guys help me out. Okay. I can see that whenever there is booking complete as 0, whenever this column is 0, there is no booking that is happening. The sum of that booking is 0. Okay. But whenever there is booking complete 1, definitely there are some bookings that is happening. That's why the sum is huge. Now, there are some rows where it is blank, but the booking complete is always there. As in the booking amount is always there. So do you think it is right to put 1 over here? On the basis of these many data, I can show you the number of rows as well. How do I show sum of booking amount, right? So if I go here, sorry, booking amount, and let's do count. For 50,000 rows, I can see that whenever there is 0 booking complete column, whenever in this column there is 0, it is always 0. For 42,000 cases, whenever there is 1, there is some sort of booking amount associated with it. Now, over here, you see that there is booking amount over here. Do you think it is right to put 1 over here?
It comes to the case Lakshmi mentioned. Maybe the booking amount is paid, but the completion is not done.
Yeah, so the completion is not done is because, actually, good question. Whenever there is 0, that means that money isn't credited to the Indigo's bank. So the booking complete is not yet done. Whenever there is some amount of money that has been credited, the booking complete shows 1. That's the data that we are seeing. So if you consider this particular data set, it is of very high confidence. Since it is of very high confidence, I am 100% sure that whenever there would be some sort of booking amount over here, I can simply put 1 over here, and you can check for all the cases. See? It would never be wrong. So because this is the case, what I can do is over here, I can go to blank and simply put 1. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I hope I answered your question. Actually, I'm sorry. Was it Lakshmi who was asking the question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I hope this answers your question. Let me know if there's any other question over here.
I have a doubt in the KPI tree. Like, can you explain again how you break down the average base fare sales into average base fare sales per seat class times percentage of booking in each seat class?
Yes. Suppose for economy, 5,000 is the average price. Okay? For premium economy, it is 9,000 rupees. For business, it is 20,000 rupees. Okay? For economy, there are 40% of seats that are happening. For premium economy, it is 20%. And for business, it is 40%. Okay? So the total price, let's keep it very, very simple. How would you calculate the average price for that? It would be, let's do this way, equal to some product. You select range, right? Yeah, this, this. This is the average that you're getting, 11,800. Okay, Prem? Now, what I can do is I can ask more people to book business tickets. More people. So instead of this economy ticket, or let's say instead of this premium economy, I want them to book the business tickets. Okay? So this becomes 10 and this becomes 50. So your average increased from 11 to 12. You see that?
Yeah.
That's what I have written over here. Average base fare sales per seat class, percentage of booking in each seat class. The average base fare sales per seat class, percentage of booking in each seat class. If I increase this economy, if I convert more economy passengers to premium economy, that is, this goes to 30, this becomes 30, this becomes 20, 10% decrease, 10% increase. So what happens? See this number, 12,900 becomes 13,300. So if I do this, my average base fare will increase. Since this will increase, my average sales will increase and my revenue will increase.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool. Any other questions, folks?